What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome to PCP Movie Night. I will be your host tonight, Rockin' Robbie Bills above. How is everybody doing? Station, pop, pop, boom. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the cult classic 1980 sci-fi film, Flash, Gordon. And I'm very excited for this because I have not seen this movie since I was a child. So it's kind of new to me. It's new to one other on the panel, but to other people on the panel, it's one of their favorite cult classic sci-fi movies of the 80s. Some people here have met Sam Jones, but that's not actually hard to do. Speaking of which, let's bring in the number one expert I know on the history and the entirety of all things Flash Gordon. It's the Brianiac. What is up, my man? How are you doing?
Well, Robbie, I'm bored.
Why?
What playthings do you have to offer me today?
Oh, you're doing the bit with
Sorry,
me.
that's how it starts.
Yeah.
I do love Flash Gordon. Yeah.
Now I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
That was the over hard intro, bro. So we're just gonna move on. All right. So we got Jelani here as well. What's up, Jelani?
I'm sorry, this shit never gets old. Hey, what's up, station?
What's up, man? Thank you for being here. We also got the other half of Go Figure Reviews. It's Brooks. What is up, my man?
What's up?
What's up? First time watch tonight. First time watch on Flash Gordon for you. We watched it last night.
Yeah.
Instead of watching the Super Bowl, we watched Flash Gordon.
Yeah, well, I wasn't gonna watch the Super Bowl anyway. So like
when I told
I don't know
Brooks,
if I mentioned this before, but I don't care about football.
I told Brooks, I was like Sunday at 7. He's like, sure. I was like, he didn't even mention, like, what about the Super Bowl?
I didn't even know the Super Bowl was this Sunday.
Y'all miss Rotel, man. Y'all miss Rotel.
It's all right. It's all right. Speaking of plenty of Rotel and a Super Bowl, he smoked a Super Bowl before he got here. It's Jolly Joe Corralo. What is up, my man?
You're not wrong, but no, it's good. It's a good time because I got to watch Flash Gordon. I watched it twice. Not today. I watched it earlier, and then I watched it again today. To really get into it. You guys know that Queen did stuff for this? That's crazy.
Yeah. What's Queen?
Nah, they didn't. I don't believe that.
Is that a mattress company? We're also joined by Mike 06, but I guess he's still, but I don't know. Mike, as soon as you're ready, just let me know. We'll pop you in, but we're going to move along. All right. 1980 film starring Sam Jones, right? Sam J. Jones, Melody Anderson, Amelia Muti, Max Van Sydow, T'Pol, Timothy Dalton. That's what's important to me. Peter Wingard. Anyway, I'm not an expert on this movie. And I watched this when I was a kid. At some point, I remember watching it. I remember it. I know the theme song. I've known the character. Obviously, the character wasn't invented for this movie. It's an adaptation of this like pulp hero character or whatever. The only real change they made was that he played football instead of polo or something like that. But it's rather appropriate. And synchronicity in action. Did not plan this, but number one, day after the Super Bowl, we're talking about Flash Gordon, a super like a Super Pro, the original Super Pro. You know what I'm saying? Right? Football movie.
He's a New York Jet. He's a New York Jet.
Yeah, for a New York Jet. New York Jets represented.
Well, when you're a Jet, you're a Jet all the way. So.
Also, didn't anticipate this, but it's also the day before Valentine's Day, and this movie's rather fucking sexy, like way more sexy than I remembered. Okay, but watching this movie as a 41-year-old man, this was kind of like a first time for me, and I really, really appreciated this movie. I had a blast watching this movie. And by the way, everybody out there in the chat, we appreciate you being here. I had a blast watching this movie. Of course, I was chilling with my homie Brooks. We were smoking, we were drinking, and it was just a really great, fun experience. It was a movie that, yeah, it's filled with camp. It doesn't take itself very seriously, but some of the performances are taken very seriously. So there's elements of it that feel very grounded and other moments of it that feel like everybody was in on the joke. It's theater of the absurd and it's Shakespearean shit at the same time. I love the idea that it seems like everybody who made this movie thought they were making a different movie than the person standing next to us, right?
Yes.
I have so much fun because of it. And to be honest, the least interesting character in this entire movie filled with interesting characters is Flash Gordon. I love the supporting cast so incredibly much. I love the music. Queen, you got Howard Blake came in. There's a lot of stuff going on with the music there, but the Queen stuff, it's insane. It's got a great title sequence. It's got amazing visuals, like really amazing, like the production design, the costume design. This movie went all out on so many different levels, and it didn't have to. And I appreciate the hell out of this movie. I had a lot of fun watching this movie. Brian, it's one of your favorite movies. You wanted to be here. Why? What do you think overall?
Well, I absolutely love this movie. I didn't see it in the theater, but I had the movie channel growing up when we first got cable, and it was on heavy rotation. And it was probably the most colorful thing I'd seen at that time. I mean, and just watched it over and over again as a kid, and I still love it today. I did watch it over the weekend, but the last time I watched it before this one, they had one of those cons over at Low Mill, and he was one of the guests, and you actually paid a ticket to go watch the movie with him there, with Sam Jones there. So that was pretty cool. He gave a kind of a talk at the end where he talked some about the movie, but it was a weird pep talk too about life, and like he gave advice on how to treat your wife, and then gave advice on wives how to treat their husbands. It was kind of a bizarre experience.
Was Kirk Cameron with him and fucking Kevin Sorbo or whatever?
No,
were they trying to save Christmas?
Yeah, he's out saving Christmas, dude.
Yeah. But no, it's just like, like what you said, where everybody's just kind of doing their own thing in this movie is spot on. I mean, it's like, I didn't notice any of that as a kid. I was just thought it was, the cool, one of the coolest looking things. And, absolutely love this movie. And I think Ornella Moody is my first crush too. I mean,
is that Ming's daughter?
Yeah. Aura, Princess Aura.
Yeah, Aura.
I looked at Brooke immediately. I was like, this chick right here, right fucking here, man.
And I want to point out two other cast members you didn't point out. Deep Roy is in it. And Brian Blessed is Voltan he's awesome. Sorry. I just,
Yeah, he is. I kept thinking he was dubbed by Patrick Stewart. That's that dude's real voice, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's awesome.
So you like the film overall is what you're saying, Brian?
Oh yeah. When you sent out the list, I saw this one and immediately was like, yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah. And I want to thank Brian because he gave me this DVD copy. It is DVD, but it's cool. It's cool. Alex Ross cover. I really appreciate it. And we didn't have to, it's not easy to rent. You got to like buy it on like Amazon or YouTube or some bullshit, It's
I bought mine. Yeah.
Damn. Well, Brian's got one signed by Sam J. Jones himself, who apparently does not like Lou Ferrigno, just like me and you, Jelani. So that's nice. Speaking of hating Lou Ferrigno, Jelani, what do you think about Flash Gordon?
Yeah, he's a cheap man. Anyway, I love this movie. This movie's a large part of my childhood. Like I never saw it in the theater. I think I watched it on VHS. The first time ever was like at a summer youth program. When I was just a kid. And I absolutely love that movie. We like tried to watch that movie 3 weeks in a row. How good that movie was. I met Sam Jones at the Low Mill thing. I got a poster signed by him. I know you can't see it because of the glare, but he signed it. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. But it's a great poster. It's got like Ming on the front and all these other cool things. I love that poster. Everything about it is freaking iconic. The music is gorgeous. I think the music kind of saves this movie. I can't remember if this movie did well or not. I have no idea. I'm pretty sure they were going to try to do sequels, but it did not work out.
Well, they wanted to do a sequel, and it did well.
A little wonky.
It did well in Europe, right? But not so well in the States. But it came out the year that Superman 2 and Empire came out. So
yeah.
Oh, well, then they had no chance. It was not for real. But I mean, I like how campy it is. I love Flash Gordon. I love as far as the outfits, the costumes, everyone's costume was on point. Yeah, I will. Spoiler alert: Brian Bless is my favorite character in this whole movie because I remember him the most. Dive! It's so insane. I love that these Hawkmen are just flying around on wings and refuse to carry people to safety. You're like, we gotta go. You're like, we're not taking you with us. Like, you need to pick us up and fly us away. You have wings. Nah, man, we're good. Peace out. But there's so many like great characters in this movie. I mean, even Horseface James Bond is in it. It's so great. I don't know. I could go about this movie all day. I really could. I just really love it, and it's just one of my childhood gigs. It's like it's up there with like Masters of the Universe, of how like just nostalgia brings it back to you. I mean, you could watch this movie at any age. I mean, even it has all these sexual undertones over it and whipping of a woman. It doesn't care. It doesn't really matter. It's like anyone could watch this movie and be like, "Wow, this is awesome." You know what I'm saying? So it's how a comic book movie should be. One of the greatest openings for a comic book movie, and just a Pulp Fiction movie, and it has all of the stuff in it. It's just it's so beautiful. The colors are so bright.
Yeah,
and you know what I'm saying. And on the rewatch, I got all that nostalgia back. Like I've seen it so many times. So I don't memorize lines, but I'm pretty sure I could say them if they're in front of me. I did get the on board thing, so it's just crazy how this film still brings up childhood stuff with me. Very colorful, very beautiful.
Well, I like those thoughts, and we're even going to forgive you for that terrible fucking besmirching of Timothy Dalton that you laid in there by calling him horseface. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Dashing
bitch. Got a horse.
Yeah, you lying bitch.
I like him. I like him a lot.
Anyway, Brooks,
horseface James Bond.
Brooks, this was your first time watching it, even though it was on DVD. What did you think about it?
I liked it. I mean, I'd heard about this movie. Like, I've seen the movie Ted, and it's mentioned in there, but I'd never seen this movie. Like, Flash Gordon is a thing that I'm only familiar with kind of through like the cultural osmosis of, of being like when you're a comic book guy, it's got like one of those things that, you just know about. But I'd never read any of the comics or like seen this movie or any of the other serials or anything. But I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was a very there are holes in it, like but really
a lot.
It's just a spectacle, You just come to see the fucking insane amount of lasers in the fucking end. It's like a force field made up of lasers. It's like fucking like
lightning
how
field.
many more lasers can they fucking cram into this finale, dude?
I'm glad we were stoned, man.
Well, I mean,
I'm just saying, like, and I bet if you put this shit, if you sync it up right, I bet it will work with any Pink Floyd album.
like
Not as well as with Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. That syncs up perfectly with Dark Side of the Moon.
Wow.
The second.
Not the first one. That would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
Nuts.
You enjoy it, Brooks, even though it has some hole, right?
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. All right, Joe. I always love it. I cannot wait to do the ones that you decide you want to do. Like I send you the list pretty much first, Joe, and I'm just like, whatever you want, bro. And like you pick, and I'm like, Flash Gordon, Joe Corallo on Flash Gordon, go.
Yeah. So I mean, right off the bat, for anyone who might be confused, if you watched Flesh Gordon instead, that's the porn parody.
Yeah, that's next on my list, by the way.
Well, here's the thing. I have seen Flesh Gordon. There's some redeeming qualities in that. And one line from Flesh Gordon that I'll never forget is, "You don't know what it was like when the sex ray went off and nobody was around." So,
that's rather that's more profound the more you think about it.
It really is. It's deep, you know. It's a deep, penetrative watch. But you know, but
I'm sure it is.
With this movie, you know, again, like you know, obviously everyone's can't get enough with Brian Blessed, and I get it. I loved him in. He was in a Sixth Doctor, you know, Doctor Who story, Trial of the Time Lord, and was just as insane and loud and boisterous in that as he was in this movie, which is fantastic. And he was briefly in consideration for being the Doctor, and I think we all agree here that Doctor Who would have been a better show if Brian Blessed was the Doctor.
Die!
I had not seen this in a long time, so I totally forgot that was Richard O'Brien in that like couple of scenes.
Right, Brooks? I was like, that's Riff Raff, man. That's freaking Riff Raff.
Yeah. No, it was you had fucking Riff Raff there, and there was another Doctor Who guy in it. The guy's name's I think like Ted or David Neal rather. His like Ming's Air Force captain who shows up just at the end to get murdered was in the Doctor Who story, The Caves of Androzani, as the president of Androzani Major. And that's one of the best Doctor Who stories ever. So I realize I'm talking about you know, Flash Gordon, and I've now recommended like 2 different Doctor Who stories and a porn, but that's not to say.
Well, you got me sold on one of the 3 at least. I'll tell you that.
Excellent, but this is I guess this movie is a glorious mess. It accomplishes, I think what someone was trying to do was accomplished, but it's so it feels like someone's grandpa heard of Star Wars and thought they made a Star Wars.
He's a football player, though. He's like a Luke Skywalker, but he plays football.
You know, like that's how
he's murking.
That's how the like because while there are things that look really nice in this movie, you watch A New Hope and you watch this, and this looks like the cheapest, gaudiest knockoff. Like when you compare like how like smooth the graphics were in that like original New Hope with like the space combat to like, you know, this, which is a lot more typical of what movies look like outside of Star Wars. And yeah, there's just these like interesting things about it, but yeah, I mean, I enjoy this kind of stuff. I like movies like Krull. I would happily talk on and on about Krull. You know, that is oh my god, that's incredible. But yeah, no, it's in that lane of movies, you know, like Krull and Masters of the Universe, and there's these like there's not enough movies like that. It just feels like you know, I wish there were more movies like Flash Gordon.
Yeah, I agree. I wish there were more movies like Flash Gordon and Flesh Gordon. Like we need
absolutely.
And what's wonderful is we live in an age where you can find porn parodies for many of a film. right?
Oh yeah, Spider
Rule
Babe,
34,
Lord of the G Strings. That's a classic.
I'm a big
there's
fan
lot.
of Clockwork Orgy. That's one I've been a fan of since the VHS days. Anyway,
Yeah.
Jelani, I know, knows that one. Anyway, I think you're the one that
We were porn buddies.
Romancing the Bone is another one. Gladiator is another one.
Glad he ate her. That's as clever as
Glad
when
he
Britney
ate
Spears
her.
did If You Seek Amy. All right.
Yeah.
A great movie has a great cast. And one of my favorite things about this movie is the cast. But first, Mike, what do you think overall? All right. Appreciate that. So before, I've been trying to be nice this year and let everybody have their choices. And I get towards the end and I want to come up with something clever, like the cat and Llewyn Davis, like I'm so fucking smart. Right. That being said, I got to say, fucking my favorite character in this movie is Dr. Doom, as played by Peter Wingard, as played by General, was it Clytus?
General Clytus, yeah.
Clytus. That's Dr. fucking Doom. That's Dr. Doom as a henchman. Me and Brooks were watching, we're like, this is Dr. Doom. It's Declare Doom.
When he walks out of the room after the torture and pathetic.
He just goes,
like he turns around and walks back in just to say that and then walks back out.
Yeah. Brooks even goes, there is no reason for him to have to stop and turn around just to fucking add one more thing. Pathetic. That's what Dr. Doom does. This is Dr. Doom. He's the main villain of this movie till he just goes out super easily.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so
Ming can be there for Act 3, I guess. Ming is a fucking
It's
piece of shit, to be honest. The real threat is Clytus. He's fucking badass, and it's like the best cinematic interpretation of Dr. Doom we've ever fucking gotten. He looks like him. He acts like him. He's got that fucking arrogance, that suave. Here's my thing. If they would have done the sequel, we would have found out that was a Clytus bot and not the real Clytus, and he had actually survived. But dude, that's Dr. Doom. That's Declare Doom. That's Doom. He's my favorite. What about you, Brian? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I was going to say, did you like it when Clytus died and he was impaled on spikes, but then somehow that forced his eyes and tongue to come out?
No, because
I remember as a kid that I was like, huh.
Now here's the thing. That was just so stupid to me. Like he just barely gets taught. There was no build up to it. I don't even feel like there was a build up to the Ming defeat, right? Like the villains. No. And I said this to Brooks right after the movie. I was like, as much as the villains were cool and the performances behind all of them were awesome, I was like, they weren't really threatening. They were just assholes.
Yeah, right? They all get taken out like a bitch. Yeah. They all get bitch ass deaths. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, you want them to at least go out epic, but airplane crashed into him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my favorite character is Ming. I mean, from growing up, I just love that character design and everything like that. I love Max von Sydow, and his death, I thought, was incredibly dumb. It was like he runs and then turns around to the exact magical spot to get impaled. I mean, it was that part was dumb. But I mean, there's lots of great lines in there, and a lot of he had a lot of really good ones. And but this last time we watched it, I'd forgotten one thing he did, and it just made me laugh. It's like super hard, but it was when General Kala comes over the loudspeaker.
Did you say super hard?
Yes.
Now I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
Super hard.
You mean over hard? You mean over hard, right?
Okay, I'll switch it later. I'll say over hard instead.
Okay. We'll fix that in post. Don't worry about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Fix it later. But like when they're doing the wedding, General Kala comes over the loudspeaker and there's like the sounds of war coming, and he's kind of looking as he's going up the steps, and then she says that, no cause to be alarmed. We're just firing off the weapons in honor of the wedding. And he just goes like this, does that fist pump with it. I don't know. I just thought that was really, I don't know. It was a good touch and everything like that. But yeah, it did seem like for somebody that's only attacks a planet every 1,000 years, you would think that he'd be like super smart, super wise with all these years behind him. I thought, some of the things he did were just straight up dumb, but that kind of goes in line with the movie. I mean, there's, I do love this movie, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of a confusing mess in certain ways. I mean, it's, I don't know, but it is hard for me to pick favorite characters in this because there's so many, I mean, I don't know, so many good good characters to pick on. And I don't know. Yeah, like Jelani said, the costumes and the looks and everything, like they took the original serials and just kind of, amped it up, and really made them look really sharp. So.
Wait, who did you say?
Ming, the Merciless.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
The guy he's wearing on the shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jelani, what about you, man? Sorry, I got distracted. Jelani, what about you, man? What do you think?
Of course I'm gonna pick Brian Blessed. I mean, jeez. Tan's my favorite character. He was my favorite character the first time I saw the movie. He was like just that dude. I was like, yeah, he's the Hawkman, clearly. And he's just so and his character is just, he's treacherous, and he's like, at the end, he finally sees, the error of his ways, but like it takes so long. Like he's like, I don't want to piss Ming off. I don't want to die. And it's just so cool that he's like this 100% the entire time. Like he's the one that's here, that other people are like, are we in the same movie? Because he's just out there. He knows what this is. He wants to chew that scenery, and he does it so well. And I don't know, he is a fun dude to watch. Just a fun dude to watch. And the way he wears like those shorts, those fur shorts with confidence,
they're not even
shorts. It blows me away.
I was telling Brooks, I was like, man, I think the star of this film is this dude's fucking inner thighs, man. He's like, what'd you say? Brooks is like, he's man spreading this entire movie. I'm like, he's hawk spreading, bro.
Wide, far and wide. It's crazy.
Hell yeah, man.
But yeah, I love him. He's awesome.
Nice. That's a good pick, man. He's so just over the top. He's like, if this movie's at an 11, he's at a goddamn 83. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just ridiculous. What about you, Brooks? Speaking of ridiculous, what's a character performance you want to highlight?
Well, there's one character, like, she's mostly like not very good in this movie. She's a very, like, the character Dale. Like, she's a very typical kind of like damsel character, but she has one scene in this movie where just out of fucking nowhere, she's like blasting motherfuckers and doing like gymnastics,
cartwheels.
And I'm like, what the fuck? It's like she's got fucking like karate skills now. But yeah, like throughout most of the movie, she's like, she's very typical, like, she falls in love with him like immediately. She's always like, Flash. But that one scene, like, I think makes it all worth it. That character's like, it shows like, that she's not completely like useless like a lot of those old school damsel types were. I wish they'd have given her a little more of that, to be honest.
I love when that moment happened, Brooks. Brooks just like loses and he goes, she's badass. And I go, where the fuck did this come from? Like, out of fucking nowhere, this travel agent that's scared of the fucking storm on the plane, the turbulence or whatever. Like, I don't know. All of a sudden she's like flipping around, knowing all this fucking
shit. Blasting motherfuckers.
Yeah, dude. And those dudes with the gas mask, they're like the dumbest fuckers, man. Every single one of them just like so much.
Stormtroopers look smart compared to these fucking guys.
They're just standing around and squealing.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. What about you, Joe? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I feel like at this point, I gotta bring up Prince Baron. Timothy Dalton. Every scene that like focuses on him, for the most part, he usually steals it. There's a few moments where he's like interacting with like Brian Blessed, and it's like good luck with that. But other than that, when it's like him and Sam Jones like dealing with each other, in like the third act of the film, like he is, acting circles around that guy. But I mean, just opening with him, like making accusations against Brian Blessed, for stealing it, like all the little moments where he's, having those very blunt discussions with Ming's daughter. There's that one
bitch.
That was the line of the film for me.
Yeah, me and Brooks cracked up so much when Timothy Dalton's like, I was like, wow, I've never like, we need this clip just to
And
like
her
play.
response. She's just no response. Just like,
You
I
got
am
me.
a lying bitch, I guess.
But what is it? And then there's that scene like towards the end where it's like him, her, and what is it? The doctor, and they're all like, I've changed. And then at the end of the scene, it's all like, I haven't changed. And it's like, it's a funny bit. I feel like it needed one more pass on that script because it's one of those scenes like I'm watching, I'm like, man, this almost worked. But like it came close enough to working that like it stuck in my mind. But even still, I'm like, almost, guys, but not quite. But I guess that's what we're going with. So
Nice. Timothy Dalton is always a great choice, no matter what film you're talking about. If he's in it, even if he's not in it, just being like, if Timothy Dalton was in this film, that would be my favorite performance, right?
Oh yeah,
also Doctor Who.
And he's got that like he's like an edgy Errol Flynn in this film, right?
Yeah, he's so great. This is well before, like what, 11 years before The Rocketeer.
7 years before James Bond.
Yeah, and The Living Daylights is one of my favorite Bond movies. It's
great. And a great theme. And the best Aha song, "Fuck Take on Me." It's The Living Daylights. That's their best.
All right. Could do that.
That's the jam. All right, style and structure. I think style's great. Like it looks like this movie was a big fucking deal. You know what I'm saying? Like it's beautiful. And the costume design is amazing. The sets are amazing. The special effects actually work. All that blue screen optical stuff, it works for me. I just recently bought a lava lamp, or I should say, I earned it over 2 years of saving tickets at Stars and Strikes, which is an arcade here. I like earned a fucking lava lamp, and it was like sending me into that lava lamp zone. I had so much fun. It was a visual treat. I think pacing wise, it gets a little bloated in the third act. It's like they run out of room. They don't know what to do. Maybe, as Joe says in the script, they should elaborate some more on some of those smaller character bits for the secondary characters, right? And instead they just have Flash for 15 minutes flying the sky sled straight towards the fucking palace or whatever. Like he just keeps cutting back. It's like a fucking bit, right? It's like the shit in Monty Python where like the knight's just like running towards the guards and they just keep looking back and looking back. All of a sudden he's fucking there. But it takes forever to get there. So yeah, the script's not the greatest. Like Joe said, it's like, they maybe one more draft, maybe two, but one more would iron some of that out. Right. But for the most part, I think the style overcomes some of the problems with the structure. And that's what really like kept me engaged and enthralled throughout. What about you, Brian?
Yeah. I've always been, more visually oriented. And I think that's probably why I like this movie so much is I really just love the visuals of it. I mean, they hit really hard when I was a kid too. It was just like, I hadn't seen anything like it, and yeah, I do agree. Obviously the Star Wars effects were better. But it's funny, actually, because George Lucas pulled scenes from the original serials for a lot of the scenes in A New Hope. So it's almost kind of circular in a way. But as far as the story structure, they lifted a lot from the serials, and the serials they're only like 18 minutes, and each one ends on a dumb cliffhanger, and so.
Didn't the opening crawl come from Flash Gordon serials?
It did. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
I found that out in the YouTube.
It's a great opening.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely, the story definitely leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, I think it was, a visual treat, and there was a lot of one-liners, I think, that kind of, the dialogue was just, kind of rife with just like, cool little lines, like, like the tears one. I remember laughing my ass off when I was a kid on that one, they call it's what they call tears. It's a sign of their weakness. It's like a lot of those, I don't know. There's just those, peppered throughout the thing, but yeah, it's, I think cult classic is an appropriate term. Cause it's kind of dumb, and there is no bit of science in it. I think it's a fantasy, cloaked as a fantasy in the future.
Well, it's got lasers.
Futuristic, huh?
It's got lasers.
It does have lasers and aliens, I guess, but I mean, I mean,
You
using
can
a
make
pedal to
fantasy
reverse.
movie, but you make a fantasy movie, you put some lasers in there, it's like sci-fi fantasy all of a sudden. It's like
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe, Star Wars. Oh, they got
Yeah.
lasers and it's fantasy. And
Yeah, I mean, it's as science fiction as Star Wars is, right?
well, I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not Star Trek. You know what I'm saying?
No,
It's not 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know,
no.
it's not West Side Story. Wait, what? Speaking of West Side Story, from the west side of Huntsville right now. Hey, you are on the west side of Huntsville.
West
what do you think about the style and what do you think, Jelani?
Man, this is, as Mike would say, gigantic moronic splendor. This is
We
one
got
of
Mike
those
here,
movies-
actually. Mike, what do you think about that?
Oh wow.
Nicely put. Continue.
Well done. So yeah, it's pretty to look at. It's one of those films that's just like you don't really. This is the turn your brain off movie. It's cut that way. It's got that wild music with Queen in it, so you're just like you're distracted by how good it is, the good the sound is, that you're not really paying attention to the story because really Zarkov is insane. He pulled a gun on his like guy, like his assistant, and like tried to kill him, and like when he didn't want to be the guy to press the pedal, more people show up and kill that guy. He doesn't feel bad about it at all. He's just like, we gotta get in the ship, we gotta go save the world, and takes people with him. It's a crazy story. This story needed like 2 more drafts. It's just one of those things where it's an hour and 30 minutes long. So you get
It's 151, man.
It's decent. It's 151. It's almost
Yeah, it's
2 hours. I thought it
151,
was
man.
130.
No, it's 151.
I must have missed. It's
You must have watched
151.
Flesh Gordon.
I watched Flesh Gordon. That's where all the sex rays were. But yeah, it's mercifully short though to me because it gets there when it needs to be. It's big. It's campy fun, and it's just one of those films where you just shut your brain off.
Yeah,
it's
gigantic
paced
moronic
well.
splendor.
It is. It's just so pretty to look at that you don't really care about the length of it, or you don't care about that story because the story was kind of weak. So yeah, that's it. Good
What about
movie,
you,
though.
Brooks?
Great,
Style and structure. What do you
fantastic.
think?
I watch it 60, 70 times.
Nice. Brooks, what about you?
Well, I mean, I like the style of this movie. It's very 80s sci-fi, but like everything looks good, you know. It's not like as smooth as like Star Wars, you know, but the costumes all look really good. Like I love the Declare Doom costume. I like the other general, the lady with the black and gold suit. I thought she looked pretty cool too.
Yeah, she had an awesome suit.
Proto Evil Lyn, I call it.
Yeah. And like the effects for like all the psychedelic shit, like from when they're traveling through the portal, all the crazy fucking like psychedelic backgrounds, like it looks like really good. Like if nothing else, it is a visual treat for the eyes, and lots of lasers too.
Yeah. Speaking of a visual treat for the eyes and lots of lasers, Joe Corallo has a one-man show off Broadway right now, so go check it out. Joe, what do you think about the style and structure of this film?
Yeah, I mean, like everyone was alluding to before, they put all their points they could allocate into style, and they put bare minimum into structure, and yeah, just going into some of the bits that really like that again, if the style wasn't superb, and some of that, you know, really does go to, you know, the directing and taking some scenes that easily could have been bland or uninteresting or just not work. There was like that first scene where they're in the main room and, you know, Flash is running around and they're like just kind of sort of fighting Ming's guards, and everyone's just like, I don't know, what a dog shit mess of a scene that is saved entirely by it being flashy, well shot, and stylish and slick. But on paper, what an awful garbage scene. Just like that just comes off like Ming just murdered a guy and Flash Gordon just running around dip-a-doop-a-doo and like casually kind of bumping into people.
Yeah,
He's
that
got
was Bears.
no armor, nothing to really, and he's just like and everyone's and you know Brian Blessing's like hitting people, like he's a big guy and he's smashing them, and then he's like, I didn't do anything. Like all this stuff, it's like, what the fuck is this? You know? Yeah. He, like,
the
tripped
fucking Benny Hill bit is what it feels like, man.
Yeah, but it's like
He could have frozen him. He killed him. He vaporized him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this weird like tonal mess where it's like, okay, you just tried to show me how deadly serious this all is, followed immediately by like, and it's like, why are you not killing these guys? Like, why didn't you just kill them? Like, Flash Gordon isn't like magic. He's not a super. You could have just had a guy stab him, and that's it. And instead, it's like, so why are you doing this elaborate execution of guy you just met from planet you don't care about? Like all these things that are just like, what are you doing? And then like he escapes, and they could have killed him like 7 or 8 more times after he survives the first time, and like, what's the worst that can happen? He's gonna murder all of us. Like it's just. Like all the like weird stuff, and then like later on, it's like he fakes getting bit by the thing in front of Timothy Dalton, who falls for it. How could he fall for that? You know, like there's just things like that where it's like, what are you doing? He like, oh, you know, like he.
The madness is gonna overtake you now.
You know, instead of asking to look at it first or not, like. Or anything, he's just sort of like, I'll take your word for it. God, like I didn't like. I'm changing the rules of the game, but I'm naive enough to believe that. Like, there's just all that kind of stuff where it's like, you are saved entirely by style. I do get the point, Tony. I'm not a moron, but thank you. No. I don't know if you know this, Tony, but it didn't do well at the box office. No, but yeah, no, when people don't agree with you, it doesn't mean they missed the point. We're not all idiots and you're the only guy that figured it out. But no, it's you know, it's fine.
All right. So Mike apparently has been like, I've been here the whole time. I just don't have my cam. So Mike is living up to the voice. So Mike, welcome.
Gonna go off.
Yeah, thanks for finally having me on. I've been waiting the whole entire time.
We brought you on like 3 times. Where were you?
I've been dealing with other issues too. So I've been listening, but I don't have cam. So like I heard something be like, let's go to Mike, and then it was like, and then I heard Jelani's cackle.
You're just the voice.
I was like, what the fuck?
Don't get mad at us because your cam's not working, man.
I'm just having technical difficulties, but I'm here, so I can hear everything y'all are saying.
Man, because I'm on this show and you ain't.
I'm sorry. I had to go stop the YouTube stream so I could jump onto this one. So, like, I was looking up Ice Pirates, you know, because like if y'all think like this is a masterpiece compared to Ice Pirates. So.
That's fair.
Well, it's a masterpiece compared to a lot of other films, Mike.
Oh, like, absolutely.
Yeah, what do you mean compared to
Freaks? You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that. Like, that the first movie I ever gave a 0 to was Blood-Sucking Freaks. Awesome. Did that on Saturday. Feel good. Mike, what do you think about this film overall?
This movie is fun. It's got I've always enjoyed this movie. I've been a big Flash Gordon fan.
Driver.
Like it's big. It's gigantic moronic splendor. I think that's what I heard you say earlier. So, but yeah, I mean, it's fun. I've enjoyed it. I remember seeing it when I was a kid, probably in like 84, 86, and like falling in love with it. And then the music's great, and just thought it was cool. And Flash Gordon, like I was a big Defenders of the Earth fan. So, like, I remember watching the cartoon and then
the animated
reading,
series, right? It had like other characters in it, right? Yeah.
Had Phantom and Mandrake, and it's kind of where I felt like this is the movie that made me fall in love with pulp heroes and want to dive into pulp heroes. And it's like I love the Sunday paper because that's where you get to read the Phantom, the current ongoing, and it's just so much. There's so much to it, and then like even like Dynamite had that had a great run.
Yeah, those are good
with Zeitgeist and then Ming's Origin, and it's like those were
that was cool.
Those were fun when they came out.
Like Dynamite gets brought up, we all have to agree.
Dynamite's a great company.
Great, Dynamite's fantastic.
I love Dynamite. Yeah.
Cherish, by the way, out this week. Everybody check out Cherish.
So I mean, there's been some other like Flash Gordon TV shows and cartoons, like that live action Sci-Fi Channel show they did. It was okay, but you know, it wasn't. It was good, but like this whole this movie, like if it wasn't for this movie, then I really wouldn't have a love for a lot of the pulp heroes, and I'll probably take pulp heroes over superheroes, just because they're fun, and it's more or less everything else. So I mean,
you got a performance you want to highlight?
I think
give me 1 second.
All right, I guess Mike's gonna keep us anticipating. Did anybody else get the vibe that he was pissed? Like I kept bringing him in, like he could have said something. He could have been like, "I'm here." Just don't have my camera on, but it's fine.
I tried to talk earlier, and y'all were talking over me, and then he's like, "All right, let's get the show going," and then it went da 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 da, and then he's like, "Well, here's the show," and like, "Here's Joe Corallo," and like, "I don't know where Mike is, but he's somewhere backstage. We're just waiting on him." So I'm like, "No, I'm here."
Sounded just like you, Robbie.
So do.
You got a character you want, like a performance you want to highlight?
I like the lizard.
Jesus Christ,
man. They get shut on the whole entire time.
Yes.
Man, I thought they were great. They're fun. Lizard man, where are you going? You stop or you'll die.
Yeah. I looked at Brooks. And I was
he tries to sneak across the hall right as they're going by.
Yeah.
I looked at Brooks when I saw like those dudes, and I was like,
now my internet.
They ran out of the budget. Was when they got to like, fuck, we forgot to do the lizard men costume.
I love that. I love the human eyes in the mouth. Like I think it was great. Yeah. Like it's just like the lizard men are just like they're the absolute bottom of the barrel. They're in the swamp. They're in the cages. Like it's just they're there on Dagobah with Timothy Dalton and his fucking merry men of Sherwood Forest. They're in prison. They're like they can't fly, and they're not smart enough to operate vehicles, but yet they're in Voltar's floating palace. So it's pretty awesome. The only thing
Proto Snake Men from Motu, right? Proto Snake Men.
Yeah.
What do you think about style and structure, Mike?
Style and structure. I mean, what more can you say? There's a
and they're just
story,
sticking their whole
plot, and then there's like all this other fun stuff. So. Like it is what it is. There's not much to this. There's not this is just it's gigantic moronic splendor. Like there's no the cinematography and the shooting. There's some cool special effects and the costumes are great, but like outside of that, it's just that's really what it is.
For Chill Out Man Station, right?
And I have to dip out again for 1 quick second, so I'll be back in like 5 minutes. I'll tell you when I'm back.
Man, I was really going to ask him the most important question I was going to ask him, and that was whether or not he thought Joe Corallo understands this movie. Do you think
we're all worried about it?
Very worried.
I mean, he writes comics and edits comics, so I think he knows a little bit about story writing and telling, and we've seen him speak his. So we know.
I don't know. Have you ever read one of his comics? Have you ever?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. Everybody, go get Dahlia in the Dark out this week. Dahlia in the Dark out this week. All right. Moving on to the music.
But yeah, Joe's correct.
Okay, Queen.
I agree with Joe.
I know the theme song, even though I'd like I knew this theme song more intimately than I knew this movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
And when we're watching it, me and Brooks are like, man, we want more Queen music. We didn't realize there was plenty of Queen music in here, right? So Brooks, I looked it up because me and Brooks were like, how did Queen do this? Like, how did this? And I was like, we were like, one of these guys was like a big fucking mark for Flash Gordon, right? It's got to be. I was researching it. Freddie Mercury, huge sci-fi fan, loves Flash Gordon, loves Star Wars, loves all that shit, wanted to do that, right? So like that was a part of it. It was also something experimental that they got to work with because each member of Queen composed bits and segments individually, and they just gave them all this music. They were like, use whatever you want for whatever scene you want. But the thing is, when I'm watching it, I want more than just that one fucking song. I want some Highlander shit where I'm hearing like a couple songs, you know, Who Wants to Live Forever, as well as the Princes of the Union. Why haven't we done Highlander yet?
Prize.
We need to do fucking Highlander, right?
I do.
Because once we do, there can only be one. We'd have to kill each other until there's only one left.
Exactly. And we have to make sure that no fucking sequels to a movie where the whole goddamn point is there can be only one. Anyway, the music's awesome. Not just the Queen stuff, but the Howard Blake, I think is who it was that came in last minute to kind of fill in some of the gaps because they brought in another person, but they didn't do enough music. So they like canned him and brought in Blake or whatever. But what do you think about the music of this film, Brian?
I think it's kind of iconic, that theme song. I mean, it, you know, and you know, Queen was one of the biggest bands in the world at that time, man. I mean, that, you know, that was kind of the hype, you know, of their, you know, their run. And, yeah. And I don't think it was common for bands to do soundtracks back then, like, you know, the whole thing and everything like that. So yeah, I think, yeah, that, they did have to do, you know, some things to fill in, but yeah, that like, and Joe, that scene you were mentioning, that first brawl in the room, that music in there, I thought was dope. You know, I thought that helped too. You know, I mean, that it was, you know, that helped, you know, I guess, you know, ease some of the dumbness maybe. Yeah, but
for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's instantly recognizable. And yeah, it was funny. I mentioned to my mom that we were doing this one, and she was like, you know, I mentioned that Queen did the soundtrack, and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "I mean, you never heard Flash Gordon." So I had to sing the whole, you know, I had to start singing the whole thing, you know, but that wasn't a chore. I loved singing that song, you know. I mean, I don't know, can go on and on about the Queen music. I mean, it's just fabulous. I mean, they were one of the biggest bands for a good reason, you know. I mean, they're pretty awesome. Absolutely.
Speaking of awesome and fabulous, Jelani, what'd you think about the music?
Yeah, it is awesome and fabulous, man. It's gorgeous. I mean, Queen is the main reason, is the main draw for this movie. If you want to be honest about it, it's their song, that main song, that theme brings you in, and it takes you for the ride you need to be on for this. Like I never a song with just splash. Oh, he saves every one of us. You know, who knew that? Like,
why didn't nobody go? Why didn't nobody go? The tempo's too fucking high to get these words in. Like we got too many syllables in these fucking lines. Can we like? It's like I'm watching this and I'm just like being hit over the fucking head. I have no idea what's going on. Fucking images from the comic are spreading at me. A laser show's happening. It's like flash. I'm like the Micro Machine dude screaming at my fucking face all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's confusing and bombastic, and it's gorgeous, and it's just it makes no sense, man. It's great music. Even I watched all the credits too, because I was like, "Yep, this music's solid."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I watched all of this.
Brooks did too.
Well,
and then you get that explosion at the end. You get that explosion,
yeah. And I missed Rihanna's halftime show for watching Flash Gordon, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to go back and watch the halftime show." But I was like, nah, I'm gonna listen to Flash Gordon again. I eventually did see the halftime show, but yeah,
nice. I still need to watch it. Still need to watch it.
And we can't.
What about you, Brooks?
We can't say the big one.
What'd you think about the music, Brooks?
I liked it a lot. I mean, when I heard it was Queen, I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna like it. Like it'd be extremely unlikely for me not to like it. But yeah, it's great. I love the theme, and I love how they use that little piano bit And it like to build up tension throughout a lot of scenes in the movie is just be like dum 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 dum, and you're just waiting for the flash, and then it just never comes until like
It takes a while too.
just the right moment.
Yeah.
It cuts back to flash and this flash. Oh. Yeah, I wish they'd have done like another like original song too. Like I think this could have used a little more, like a couple of more Queen original songs, like for some of the, especially for some of the action scenes. But overall, I mean, it's still good. The score is really good too. Good synthy 80s shit.
Yeah, they need the Ming song as well. Is what they need.
Ming! Oh no!
Yeah. What about you, Joe? What do you think about the music? You a fan of Queen?
Oh yeah,
You're every one of us.
I think what they did was killer. Queen must have been, under pressure, but together it was just like a kind of magic with one vision that will rock you.
And they're champions.
They're champions. It was quite a bohemian
And it
rhapsody.
was very easy to understand. Wasn't any of that Radio Gaga stuff going on. You knew what was going on. And but no, it's it was
I don't think you get it, Joe.
It was pretty good.
You obviously didn't understand the point of the soundtrack.
No, it's why have soundtracks? I'll also say the wedding song really stuck out to me too as I was watching. I was like, oh yeah, no, they did a good job with that.
Me and Brooks were like, did they pay Brian May to just compose that?
Yeah.
like did you get paid for that, bro? Like you did. Okay, sure.
Yeah, it worked.
How many people have used that exact fucking version of that for their own wedding?
Oh,
Flash Gordon fans. And
wow.
One of the things I wanted to point out, Brooks immediately goes, oh, I know everything I need to know about this Flash Gordon dude. He's wearing his own shirt.
Yep.
First thing. And then like when he puts on the fucking uniform to escape with the princess, Brooks goes, that scarf's a fucking choice. He doesn't have to wear that scarf.
The next scene is gone. It's gone.
But as an aside about this movie that we haven't gotten to yet, and I don't know why does he change his outfit so many fucking times? Because it's like written in the script to constantly change his outfit. It's just like,
yeah, it's like fucking Beyonce.
He's wearing regular
outfit.
Yeah.
No, he changes his goddamn outfit like Madonna. Like he's like, okay, one set piece is done. Let's go and fucking change outfits real quick. And then like he's in their official uniform, but he's still wearing the tank top with his fucking symbol on it. Like, is that from
is that the lightning
flash? Like I don't know. It's like it's interesting. It's interesting.
I like it, and he's not wearing a mask either. So it's like, hey, you're a big, tall guy that just beat up a bunch of people, and Ming looked you right in the eyes. So what if we just change like your clothes, and you're just big heads just still out there, and everyone's...
I think Masters of the Universe is more inspired by this film
like
than
you work here.
One of my favorite, if you guys remember Twisted Toy Fair Theater, right? Yes. Like Wizard, like doing the Mego figures and shit. Like one of my favorite bits was when Spider-Man shows up to Snake Mountain and Skeletor's there, and he's like, "Here's a picture of my nemesis He-Man and my other nemesis Prince Adam," and Spider-Man's like, "They're the same dude." Like you realize that, right? So the next scene is Skeletor showing up to the castle Eternia. And Adam opens up the door and he's like, "Oh, let me go get He-Man." And Skeletor just stabs him. It's fucking, and it's over. Like, that's like one of my favorite bits. What is this movie saying to you? What's its theme to you, Brian?
I think the theme is that if you're a quarterback, you can save the universe with football. But if you're a scientist, you're going to stop that football player from saving the universe. Because I mean, the movie could have ended right there. I mean, he was holding his own. He was knocking guys out left and right. All he had to do, well placed shot, and then he got knocked out.
So you think it's about how nerds are keeping the jocks from saving the world?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's an interesting take. What about you, Jelani?
Wow. Okay. There's a hero inside of all of
I
us.
don't know what theme you can pull out of this.
It's cliche. I mean, it's so cliche. It's what it is, man. These three people from Earth came in a rocket ship that this crazy dude made to go save the universe from being the merciless. And each one of them had their own like Zoltar, like he freaking stops a memory erasing Ray from thinking of other stuff. It's just so weird. It's such
It
a
was the power of the
bizarre
Beatles, man. Let's be honest. It
thing,
was
but
the power
I
of the
think that's
Beatles.
a superpower. And then Dale does
All right,
the
real quick.
cartwheel. Yeah.
Sorry, I got to jump in real quick. Sorry, Jelani. The theme is about positivity, and the Queen music is awesome. The whole musical and the singing part.
Okay.
The theme is about positivity, and Queen is awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, there's a hero in somebody right. Like Dale's flipping, doing cartwheels and shit, just out of nowhere, and she's just a travel agent living her life. And then of course Flash Gordon, who's just a New York Jets quarterback, and he's great, but he somehow knows how to inspire people to become better than them. And it's I don't know, it's just that we can be our own heroes. Like if we went to space, we'd all be killed. I have faith. I have faith probably in Brooks, and everyone else we would get frozen or disintegrated somehow.
Or Joe'd be like, "What's the point?"
Or not even survive the trip. I don't know. What's the point of this? But there's a hero in all of us. I mean, maybe if we did get through it, stuff might happen.
Man, why are so many of us having internet problems right now?
We can be heroes.
Am I glitchy?
Yeah, I am too.
No, you're good.
Brooks, what do you think this movie's about?
I think it's about solidarity. Like, you have all these different people basically under this fucking emperor guy's like rule, but like all they had to do is like come together in the end, and they could have overthrown him at any time. It just took some blonde football playing dipshit to stumble along and convince him, hey, why don't you guys like team up and then fucking just kill this guy and you can be free and you won't have to fucking like fall on your swords or whatever the fuck, or like, or have to worry about him like deciding like, oh, I'm bored, I think I'll cause an earthquake here today.
Hot hail.
Yeah.
Hot hail, motherfucker.
It's about the power of
hot hail
when they, when people put their differences aside and come together, to fight for a greater good against a greater evil.
All right, that works. What about you, Joe? What do you think?
Well, I think what this movie is really telling us is that if you play for the New York Jets, the best thing you're going to do in this life isn't going to be playing football.
I don't get that. That's a football joke.
The
Jets suck. That's the whole thing. The Jets
I'm not laughing so much tonight. Jets are garbage.
Well, nicely put.
Yeah, and also
Rick Sanchez. Rick Sanchez.
Yeah, and I guess do the right thing even if the odds are stacked against you. And yeah, it's really
you can pull that out too. Mike says positivity. For me, I mean, it's the hero's journey. It's the call to action, and it's how easily this movie is about. When the call to action happens, just accept it, and you can get any chick you want. You can defeat anything with no fucking planning. Women will just fall at your feet. Men will fall at your feet. It will be a wonderful fucking life, and everybody will applaud you for being their savior, their grandiose savior for no fucking reason. You did Flash. What did Flash Gordon do? It was everybody else that actually did it.
Nothing,
right? But that being said,
not to die.
But that plays into
their motivation.
Yeah, it's just like they teach you at the Jets. You just go in without a plan and you hope for the best.
Yeah,
that's right.
Something will happen.
Yeah,
something will happen.
Exactly how that happens.
And I think
If you
the
do
main thing
stuff,
of this movie is
something will
regardless of if your main
Or be
actor is a
passive.
star, right? Regardless of your budget, regardless of how solid you think your script is, if you have passion, Queen, and cocaine, you're going to make an okay movie that people 30, 40 years later are going to talk about. So, yeah, we're not diving in too deep on Flash Gordon, man, right? Like it's no surf ninjas. Anyway,
Yeah, not quite.
not quite. It's time to rate the film. Out of 5 possible you digs, you out there in the chat, let us know. What do you think about Flash Gordon? And Brian, kick us off.
Well, I'm going to go with 5 because every time I watch this movie, I have a fantastic time. I mean, like as we were mentioning, definitely not trying to pull anything deep out of it. I just have a great time watching it. It's got all the memorable lines, the visuals. I don't know. Rewatchability is big for me on scores and stuff. And I can watch it over and over again. So it's an easy one for me.
Perfect score. What about you, Jelani?
Yeah, I'm following Brian. I give it 5. I mean, come on, man. Flash Gordon. I mean, Sam Jones. I mean, Jesus. All that freaking movie. It's one of those things where if it was on, like, it was on TBS a lot. So, like, I watch TBS also a lot. So, oh, I am. I love that shit. I love that freaking movie. 5, man. It's
all right.
Master the Universe 5 to me too. It's just that nostalgia. But nothing can shake it. It's complete and utter nonsense, and it's exactly what you said it was, Robbie. But man, and all of us here, it's just been it's a big dumb fun movie.
Oh yeah. What about you, Brooks?
Flash Gordon, a great action comedy with a lot of laughs. I'd probably give this one a 4. It's really good. It's fun. Like it, for what it is, it is very goofy, very kind of old school sci-fi. But it's a good time. I enjoyed it a lot. And the soundtrack it definitely helps a lot. So yeah, this is one I definitely want to revisit, like eventually.
Flash Gordon, an action thrill movie with lots of laughs. Thank you, Yogi Berra. All right, what about you, Joe Corella? What do you think about Flash Gordon? Out of 5 you digs, what do you give it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot to like here. I don't have the same nostalgia, but I get it. I'm a little torn, so I think I'm going to go with a 3.69 because 4 seems just too high, but the 3.5 feels shitty to give it. Because I'm like, I like it more than so I'm going with the 3.69.
Nice. I like that. Mike, are you here?
That's good.
Hold on. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go first. And I like what Joe said because last night I looked at Brooks and I was like, for me, it's a 3.5. It's good. It's enjoyable. I'll watch it again and again and again. But it's fun and it's bad, but it's good. And then Brooks is like, I'm going to give it a 4. And then Joe, you hit the nail on the head. 3.5 is too douchey to give this film, right? 4 is. Yeah. I'm not saying it's douchey, Brooks. But
you think I'm overestimating this movie?
I'm gonna go with Joe. I'm gonna say 3.69. I like this film. It's more of a sexy film than I thought it was, so definitely will watch this more often because there's sexiness and there's like kinky shit in there
too,
like
lot.
And shit like that. I'm like, what fucking sex club are we in? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where are we at? Like, I really
that
like.
Man drinks sex before he has love with the women.
Yeah, bro. Like that's Brooks was like, is there? I think there's something sexual going on. I'm like, there's definitely something sexual going on in this fucking segment right here. Mike, are you back?
Yeah.
Take the drugs. It'll help you forget. When you're being pleasured by Ming. So.
And you can still show this to kids. That's the funniest part. That's the funniest part.
Yeah, but a lot of when I was young, all that shit went over my head. So, but Like if I was looking through my nostalgia glasses, like I would definitely give this thing a 5, just for the soundtrack, the rewatchability, the colors, especially.
Yes.
And but realistically, this movie's a 3. Like it's got a great rewatchability. It's fun. It's gigantic moronic splendor. So I mean, it fits the bill for what it does. So, and I appreciate it, and it's a classic. It became a cult classic. So,
Yeah, for sure. So we've got a 5 from Brian and from Jelani, a 4 from Brooks, a 3.69 from me and Joe, and a 3 from Mike for a PCP average of 4.069. There you go. 4.069, dudes. That's what we got. And that's actually very, very close because I just did the calculation. And it's actually a 4.0633333333, and the 3's never ending. You know, you just write like that's legitimate. So
Nice.
Just over a 4 for a PCP average. So it's dumb, it's fun, and it's splendorous, right? That's what it is. It's gigantic moronic splendor, but it is very fun. The visuals and the music really set it over the top, and the ridiculousness. I would say 20% of the people involved in making this movie knew they were making a bullshit movie. 80% were like a little bit more like, I don't know what they were doing, but I really like the result. And Brian, thank you so much for this DVD. Do you want it back, I guess? Or is it not good enough because it's not signed by Sam Jones?
Yeah, I'll keep the signed one.
All right. When I get it on Blu-ray, I'll give the DVD to Brooks.
There we go.
Yeah. Brooks. Yeah. Brooks.
I'm the king of getting hand-me-downs.
Yeah, you are.
I take them. I'm just waiting for them to fall into my hands.
Like a little brother.
Speaking of hands, what the fuck is up with okay, so they got guns.
Oh, that gun?
Yeah. Like, 'cause they don't want to put their hands on anything. Like, is there something in the theme there?
Dude
like,
shoots a gun that turns into a hand and grabs somebody. Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah. And that was what Aura was like pinned to the table with too.
It's about the weird stretched nature of a bureaucratic, empirical, oppressive force, right?
So true.
Yeah. Brian, thanks for being here. Final thoughts?
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, this has been a good time. Yeah, talk about this movie for forever. So appreciate it.
All right, Jelani, why don't you tell us what's coming up on Go Figure Reviews? And everybody hold your ears because Manny sent me one that wasn't so loud, but I haven't moved it over yet.
Dude, yeah. Go Figure Reviews. We're gonna do a Valentine's Day special. That is tomorrow at 8:00. Am I skipping out?
No, you're good.
Is my internet wonky? Good. All right. Yeah, we're doing a show and tell Valentine's Day tomorrow, 8:00 Central Time. Hope you guys can come. Let's see who will be there. There'll be a few people there. I was going to ask Mike. Does Mike want to be there? Do you want to come, Mike? It's going to be me and Brooks and some other people. I'm asking you live. You're not even here, are you?
He's not even here, bro.
Anyway, we had some more videos. I know, man. Yeah. Gosh, he's really.
We'll see. It depends on what I got going on.
Are we all in a different fucking time zone tonight? I just want to know. Or like, is somebody like halfway to fucking Jupiter right now? We gotta wait for the fucking radio signal to get there. Or some shit.
Sucked into the Imperial Vortex.
Right.
So weird. This is so weird. But yeah, that's it. I mean, we are at 140 subscribers, so please check. And yeah, that's it.
Nice, Brooks. Thank you for being here. Final thoughts.
Oh, yeah, it's like one thing this movie taught me is that all you need for a good conclusion is more lasers. So like when we make Flash Gordon 2, all we gotta do is pack the final scene with even more lasers.
Yeah.
Like I want unicorns made out of lasers, motherfucking dragons that shoot lasers out of their mouths and eyes. It's gonna be epic, dude.
Fuck yeah. Now, Joe, I know you have Cherish and Dahlia in the Dark out this week, right?
Yes. Yeah, so excited about that. You know, Cherish from Dynamite, and Dynamite's great, and everyone should be supporting Dynamite and Dynamite-related products.
That's
and
right.
and you know, Dahlia in the Dark's from Mad Cave. Mad Cave's great. Everyone should be supporting Mad Cave and Mad Cave-related products.
That's right.
Yeah, and you know, I'm working on other stuff. Other things are happening. Oh, next month, the graphic novel I edited at Mad Cave, the Carmen line by Dennis Hopeless and Piotr Kowalski is out. So
Nice.
people keep your eyes out for that as well. It's a sort of a sci-fi kind of thriller kind of book. It's up my wheelhouse. Hopefully it's up yours too. So yeah, enjoy things I worked on.
Yes, exactly. Mike, final thoughts?
Yes. If you really like this movie, go watch Ice Pirates. If you don't like this movie, go watch Ice Pirates. And then come back and watch this movie. So no, pretty much that's it. I got more shit to take care of. So it was fun. Sorry I couldn't be here throughout the whole entire thing. So
well, I'm sorry you couldn't be here, and thank you for gracing us with your voice tonight, Mike, the voice Matthews.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes.
All right, you can join me. Let's see, Saturday night, Dylan's Horror Show. We're talking about Pearl, Ty West classic, in my opinion. Very excited because Dylan's chose some really fucking fucked up, stupid ass movies in the last couple months. So I'm really excited to talk about this one. And next week, Cyborg, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme here on PCP Movie Night. I know you've been waiting for it. You're like, how can you top the importance of Surf Ninjas? How about Cyborg, the unofficial sequel to Canon's Masters of the Universe? That's right. We're getting into that, and it's going to be great. And then we're taking a quick break. And then right after that, March Madness, y'all. We're gonna go to Italy. We're gonna go to America by way of Italy. We're gonna go to Japan, and we're gonna go to. No, that's where we're going. Those are the only 3 places we're going. Anyway, we're gonna have a great time for March Madness along with Dylan's Horror Show. So once again, Dylan's Horror Show on Saturday. We're talking about Pearl. And the next week, join us for PCP Movie Night, Cyborg. Very excited for that. Appreciate everybody being here, watching on the replay and all that jazz. We are dipping out on behalf of everybody here at PCP Station, Pop Pop Boom, and happy Valentine's Day or fuck Valentine's Day, whatever you feel like we're down with. So there you go.